busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box. Had to put the stick in the box.
Welcome to the downtown studios of Cranford, New Jersey. You're here at the Commissioner's Cove. Next to me is the co-commissioner, 13th Legion, and I am the commissioner. Ricky let me down. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Commish. How's Ricky doing today?
Ricky's doing well after that tough
stressful
win.
week. Yes, it was.
All right. Here we are. We are at week number 12, Start'em and Sit'ems, where we give our fantasy advice for all the owners in the fantasy community who don't have time to do their research, just want to sit back, relax, have a little cafecito or their favorite drink. Oh, stand by. Have a little cafecito.
Yeah.
Or their drink. Have a little cigar or whatever you like to do on your off time and listen to two old men talk about fantasy football.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
All right, we're going to get this party started. All right, obviously every week we go through the weather report. All right, we missed something last week. We did. We missed the Philadelphia KC game.
We did not do our due diligence then. I thought you got every game.
Well, I did, but the problem was
our production staff failed us? Our research staff failed us?
I think they did. I spoke to them. And just like part of my interruption, there was they corrected us. It rained. It rained on Monday night, and I wasn't expecting it. And we do apologize for that false information. All right. We'll try to get it better this week. Today is Wednesday.
Did it impact the game?
Somewhat. I mean, no fumbles, but it kind of impacted. A.J. Brown only had one catch. That's impactful.
Yeah. I'm sure the rain had everything to do with that and not the KC defense.
I'm going to blame it on the rain anyway.
Okay.
All right, let's get through the weather report. All right, real quick, the Packers at the Lions. That's in the Dome. It's not going to impact anything. Washington.
Are you sure, Commissioner?
We'll see. Washington against the Cowboys. That's tomorrow night, Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes,
all right, happy Thanksgiving.
Day of slaughter.
Yes, tomorrow the Cowboys are going to face the Redskins. I'm sorry, I apologize. The Commanders. Excuse me.
Yeah, come on.
Excuse me, I'm
You're
sorry.
going to get people commenting on the show in a negative way.
Well, many years of the Redskins, and it's hard for me to switch it to the Commanders.
Well, the age of political correctness.
Yeah.
I know two old men aren't used to that.
Yeah, we're not. All right. Felix Unger. All right, 49ers versus the Seahawks. All right, here, 43 degrees, clear, 8-mile-per-hour winds out of the northeast, all right, at Seattle. The Dolphins face the New York Jets on Black Friday. First game ever, Black Friday. All right, 3 o'clock game time. 47 degrees, 1% chance of rain, 8-mile-per-hour winds out of the northwest.
I'm sure it'll not affect Tyreek.
Well, we'll see. Saints versus the Falcons. Okay, that's going to be in the Dome. And Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. All right, 43 degrees, 28% chance of rain, 9-mile-per-hour winds out of the southwest. All right, the Carolina Panthers versus the Tennessee Titans. In Tennessee, 55 degrees, 26% chance of rain, 8-mile-per-hour winds out of the southwest. Buccaneers versus the Colts. They're going to be in the Dome. And you got the Patriots at the New York Football Giants. 47 degrees, 20% of chance of rain, 77-mile-per-hour winds out of the southeast.
Yeah, led by Tommy DeVito. What's the matter with you?
They call him.
How you doing?
They call him.
Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, they call him Tommy Cutlets. I can't believe you guys. Oh, yeah. All right. Jaguars versus the Texans.
Has gold chain on.
Please.
Probably has the Italian horn on it. Hey, what you know?
All right, Jaguars versus the Texans. That's going to be in the Dome. Browns versus the Broncos. All right, that's going to be 37 degrees, 7-mile-per-hour winds out southwest. The Rams versus the Cardinals in the Dome. Chiefs versus the Raiders in the Dome as well in Las Vegas. Buffalo versus the Eagles. That's going to be a good game against the Eagles at Philadelphia. 26% chance of rain, 46 degrees, 7-mile-per-hour winds. Ravens at Chargers, Dome, and Chicago at Minnesota, Dome. All right, that is your weather as of now, Wednesday, November 22nd. If anything changes,
yes,
please monitor that.
As always, yes, please monitor the games before they go live.
Yes. All right,
and let me just say that Tommy Cutlet has got more touchdown passes than the other quarterback that plays in that stadium.
Who? Danny Pennies?
No.
Who?
Zach Wilson.
Oh, God, please, let's not talk about him.
Zach Wilson, who's played every game in 3 quarters this year. Come on.
Let's not talk about him. All right. I'd rather talk about Al Bundy and Polk High. All right.
I heard he's coming out.
Let's go.
He might play for the Bengals.
All right, we got a lot to go through, so please. All right, let's go to the injury reports. All right, injury reports. All right, real quick.
Tell me who broke a leg this week.
Well, Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. All right, Green Bay signed James Robinson. All right, he got signed to the squad, the 53-man roster, because A.J. Dillon is questionable with a groin. I think he plays, but you have Aaron Jones, who is already ruled out. Okay, Luke Musgrove was placed on IR today. Jalen Reed is questionable as well, but he was at it, but I think he plays. All right, let's talk about the nobody for the Lions to report for any injury news. Commanders versus Dallas Cowboys. Antonio Gibson's questionable. Okay, and Cowboys, you got Rico Dodell's questionable. See if he plays. And CeeDee Lamb was added to the injury report with an ankle injury. I'm just saying they added him. All right, let's not get crazy.
I was going to get the bottle of milk for you when you texted me that.
Let's not get crazy. I'm just saying I have to let the audience know that the individual is put on the injury report.
Yes.
All right, they need to know these things.
I understand.
All right, San Fran and Seattle Seahawks. You got on the 49ers. I believe everyone's good to go on that end. All right, the only one that is on 49ers injury is Ray McLeod, but nobody.
They also lost their safety with the torn ACL.
I can't remember his name. It's not listed here, but I don't know if that's going to really affect their defense. Their defense is playing outstanding lately. All right, but I look at what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did to him last week with Rashad White. They ran the ball on him. So if you get a lead on this team, all right, passing is kind of difficult because of the pass rush, and they're pretty good cornerbacks. But if you get a substantial lead or a little lead, and you run the ball and try to run down their throat and neutralize that speed, I think they do well against that. What's your take?
So you're saying Zach Charbonnet is a must-play this week?
He might be. He might be, especially with the injury to
Kenny Walker.
Kenny Walker and Geno Smith. All right, they might.
I don't know. Geno might play, but if Geno doesn't play, yes, Charbonnet is going to be.
Right.
He's going to be tired by the end of that day.
All right. DK Metcalf is questionable. I think he plays. Geno Smith plays. We just talked about that. Okay. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Claypool is questionable. Durham Smythe is questionable. Raheem Mostert's questionable. I think he plays. Achan practice limited today. I don't know if he plays this week. All right. So monitor that. Tyreek Hill with the hand injury. He played. I think he plays. I think he's going to play due to hand injury. Salvon Ahmed has been placed on IR.
He's going to play till he gets those 2,000 yards.
Yeah, he is. I think we talked about, I think it's hurting him. I think they're being blinded by the 2,000 yards, and I think other people are being affected by that. Waddle is being affected by them trying to get Hill 2,000 yards. That's just I'm a Dolphin fan. I see it every day. And Mostert as well. I just do. And we're not utilizing the slot receiver much, and Waddle's not getting the ball. So everyone's triple teaming him. They're taking away his first read, and that's when you see the happy feet, and we throws it up, he'll get an interception. All right, we got to change that. McDaniel needs to do a better job on that.
This is not a Dolphin podcast, please.
I'm just saying. All right, the Jets news, Garrett Wilson, his elbow, I think he plays. However, with Ramsey and Howard, I think it's going to be a tough start for whoever has Garrett Wilson on their team. I think he might be an individual to sit this week. All right, Aaron Rodgers talked about coming back December. I say don't come back at all. Sit out because it's not worth it. All right, New Orleans Saints versus Atlanta Falcons. Kendrick Miller is questionable. Derek Carr. I don't think he plays this week with his shoulder injury and concussion protocol. I think they give one more shot to Jameson Winston. I think and that bodes well for Chris Olave.
Yes.
I believe you said it.
I said in our previous show, yes. Yep. I think that Olave shouldn't be in line for a bigger game.
I do too. I think you start Olave with confidence.
To the detriment of Kamara.
Yeah. Well, I think Olave is going to get those air yards that we talk about in previous weeks.
Yes.
I really do. All right. Michael Thomas is placed on IR. He's done for 4 games, so that's another big plus for Olave. And that might be another plus for another individual we're going to talk about a little later on. All right. Who you may stream, who you may start, who may a little sneaky start. Okay. Tyler Heineke is questionable for, I think he doesn't play. All right. T. Higgins is still.
No, I believe Arthur Smith already said that Desmond Ritter's going to get the start.
T. Higgins is still out. He's not going to play. And let's talk about the Panthers and Tennessee Titans. Hayden
What
Hurst.
a rough year for the Who Days.
Yeah. Carolina Panthers. Obviously the quarterback's out. Browning. They're starting Browning with Chase Young. Jamal Chase. Jamal Chase, let me tell you, do you still start him with confidence?
Well, obviously not. You're going to start him. All reports coming out of Bengal land is that they're going to run the offense the same way they did when Burrow was in the game. But Browning is not Burrow. But Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase, and you're going to throw it to your best guy, right?
Yeah.
We saw it, earlier in the year when Justin Fields was out, and still DJ Moore got passes thrown his way. That's just, you have to do it. Aiden O'Connell did the same thing with Devontae Adams. So Jamar Chase, maybe don't expect 25 points, but he might be in the teens.
Okay. So there you have it. All you Jamal Chase owners, I don't know if you're going to say start him with confidence, but if that's all you have.
Who else are you going to
I'm just saying.
I mean, I understand you might have another two good wide receivers, but are you really going to start them over? All right. For example, Kamish, would you start Jamar Chase or would you start Romeo Doubs?
Well, it's a tough one.
Start Jamar Chase or Jaden Reed? Same team.
I might have to go with someone from Green Bay because Luke Musgrove is put on IR.
I understand, but over Jamar Chase?
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are going to have to make that decision because I don't have Jamal Chase, so good luck on that one. All right, Tennessee, Carolina and Tennessee. Hayden Hurst is questionable. Treylon Burks is still questionable. He's in concussion, still with the concussion protocol. All right.
That kid can't catch a break.
No,
2 straight
can't.
years always hurt.
Yeah. New England at the New York Football Giants. Devontae Parker still questionable. He's still out. Kendrick Bourne's still out.
That's going to be the game of the week, yo.
Yeah. Oh, there is an injury update for the New York Football Giants. Bobby Okereke just came out with a broken rib update. He has a hairline fracture in the rib. He will play, but if you guys are playing IDPs, that's something to monitor. All right.
Yes.
And you do have him.
Yes, I do. He had a monster game
Yep.
last week. That would be a big loss if he didn't play, but I think he's going to gut it out. He's a very strong guy.
Yep. All right. So that just a little tidbit for you guys. If you guys play any IDPs, he's a star in the middle linebacker position.
They got a bye week after this week, so he'll gut it out and take a rest.
Jaguars versus Houston Texans. No one on the Jaguars to report. Texans. Damian Pierce is practicing. That kind of stinks because it hurts Singletary's value. Singletary, I believe, is the starter now. But you know what? If you have him, and I do in one of my leagues, and now with him coming, he's just going to be a thorn in everyone's side because I don't know how they're going to split those carries if you guys do have them. So just please monitor that. And
I don't think you have anything to worry about. I think Singletary's going to get his usual compliment. He might lose a few, but he's going to lose the red zone carries. He wasn't getting red zone carries the last 2 games.
We'll talk about that red zone carry in a second.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a second. We'll see. We'll go to that little segment in this week 12 Start'em and Sit'ems. Just give me a second on the red zone. Let's go through these injury reports real quick. Noah Brown still questionable. All right, Marquise Goodwin, Deshaun Watson, we all know. Greg, what's the word? Dulcich.
Greg Dulcich.
All right, tight end. Hamstring isn't believed to be close to returning from injured reserve and isn't expected to be activated for Sunday's game against the Browns. All right, the Rams. Puka Nacua, obviously he's been hurt all year, but it was a new injury that came up this week, so we have to monitor that one. All right.
What was that injury, Chris?
Still the shoulder injury, but he said he wasn't feeling 100%, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so just monitor Puka Nacua this week. It'll be fantastic for him to play. Don't forget that Cole Kamish plays me this week. He's starting Puka Nacua against me. It is what it is.
There's no cup. He'll be out there.
Right. With no cup, he's going to have a monster game. Kyron Williams is back for you guys. All right. All you Kyron Williams owners, he is back. He's going to play. He's full strength. They say he's looking good. And good luck with him. Start him, fire him up. All right. Michael Wilson looks like he's coming back. And Amari DiMarcado looks like he's coming back. I don't know. James Conner looks a little slow.
No.
Looks a little slow for me.
He had a good game. Game.
Your interpretation of a good game is different from my interpretation of a good game. I'm just saying. This is
All right, so he didn't blow it up fantasy point wise, but he's still unfortunately, again, we always talk about these things. Zay Flowers was the guy I've always said to you earlier in the year. He gets the catches, he gets the targets, a good game, but it's not going to be a great game unless he falls into the end zone for a touchdown. Those 6 points mean all the difference between a 12-point average start or 18 points, so which makes him a stud. So again, he didn't fall in the end zone, so we'll see what happens this week.
Okay, we'll see. All right, let's talk about...
I would be very hard-pressed to find 24 running backs that I would start instead of him.
Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. Richie James, wide receiver, questionable. Not a big deal. And we had the Buffalo Bills. Dawson Knox. Word on the street is Dawson Knox is going to resume practicing this week. Does that hurt Kincaid?
No.
Okay.
I think they see where their future is.
Okay. Goddard is still out, obviously, with that injury. Mark Andrews still out. Jalen Guyton is questionable. They say he might be playing this week. And Gerald Everett is questionable. He might be playing. And then on the Vikings and Bears front, Justin Jefferson, I believe they keep him out one more week.
Okay. And let me just go back on that one more second.
Go ahead.
Say Dawson Knox does come back.
Uh-huh.
They have a new offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Joe Brady does not use 12 sets. He doesn't use 2 tight ends on the field. He likes to spread out with 3 to 4 wide receivers.
Okay.
That means one of those tight ends has got to sit. I don't think you sit Kincaid right now.
I don't know.
That's why Shakir is doing so well. But that's, again, this is an old man who's
all I'm saying is,
analyzing the way he's singing.
Are you nervous about Knox coming back? That's all I'm saying.
No.
Okay, let's go to another segment, this is called Red Zone Rushing Stats, all right? Because obviously the weather is turning, all right? We're going to analyze something that goes within the first inside the 5 yards because you know what? We watch a lot of football. I believe that you guys watch a lot of football, and every time they're inside the 5 yard mark, who gets the ball as a running back? That's all we care about, okay? And we all know in Philadelphia it's a tush push, so Swift doesn't really get the ball much inside the 5. So I'm going to name the top. I'll give you top 10, all right, real quick. Coming in number 1.
Now, these are the top 10 running backs?
Running backs.
That inside the 5 yard line.
Inside the 5 yard line.
Oh, drop the knowledge.
All right. Joe Mixon is number 1. Believe it or not, Barkley, number 2. All right. Kenneth Walker, who's out. Big hit, number 3. So that means Charbonnet is going to get it, I believe, inside the 5 yard line. Okay, Brian Robinson is another one. All right, Christian McCaffrey, obviously. Rashad White.
Yes.
Rashad White gets the ball.
He's the king of volume.
Yes, he is. Inside the 5 yard line, Rashad White. Najee Harris.
I'm not surprised.
Najee Harris. Josh Jacobs.
Not surprised.
Alexander Madison.
Not surprised.
So what I'm trying to say is when you're making your decisions on who to start when the weather starts turning, you're going to have to make your decisions who gets the ball in the red zone, okay? When it starts getting cold, windy, okay, we've been talking about that, and it hasn't turned yet. But the playoffs, it might turn.
Yes.
So you might have to think about this. Go back to week number 12, Start'em and Sit'ems, and think about these red zone rushing stats inside the 5 yard line. I think like that. And I'm going to give you an example. Years ago.
Okay, I already know this.
Years ago, I lost a championship game to Jerome Bettis.
Yes.
He did not get the ball. All he got
were touchdowns.
Inside the 5 yard line. It was him.
Well, we have another similar situation that occurred. You also had him. He was on New England. You had him.
Oh, who was he?
I wish I remember his name. I know this is spur of the moment. All he did was score touchdowns. I think he had 18 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns that year.
Was it Fournette?
No, it wasn't Fournette. But it was someone else. It'll come to me later. But Gus Edwards this year is like that.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Inside the 5. Gus Edwards is that guy.
And earlier this year, you could make a case that David Montgomery was that guy.
Correct. And he still is that guy, I believe.
He still is that guy, yes.
This is what I'm talking about with these
guys.
stats.
Well, David Montgomery is going to get you a little bit more than just those falling in the end zone within 5 yards. But Gus Edwards isn't going to get you 100 yards rushing.
No, but you start him because he gets those inside the 5 yard line carries for touchdowns.
He might get those 2 touchdowns, 12 points right there. You're right.
So next guy, Raheem Mostert, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, Austin Eckler, which he hasn't gotten. This is what bothers me about Austin Eckler. He hasn't gotten the ball inside the 5. But look where he is. He's ranked at the bottom. Gus Edwards, there goes the name right there. A.J. Dillon, Kareem Hunt, Tony Pollard, Jalen Hurts. Well, this guy inside Jalen Hurts. Can you believe a quarter? And Tyler Algier. But I think that's going to turn with where B. John Robinson is going to get those balls. So that's my list for inside the 5-yard lines for red zone rushing stats.
Yes. Not all those guys you would consider starters. Some are, obviously. Gus Edwards, borderline. But, yeah, you're going to have to make tough decisions at the end.
All right.
Flex-wise, yes.
All right, Cole. Listen, I've been doing a lot of research, and just like you have. All right.
Well, not this week. This week you had to carry the mail.
It's okay. That's what we do. We're partners.
Yes.
All right. You're my platanos to my collard greens. All right. We're actually switching this. All right, for a little bit. We're gonna go to next gen stats.
Next gen stats.
All right.
Yes.
Obviously, everyone hears about the next gen stats every week when the NFL commentators talk about it. So we're gonna bring it to our program. And you want to lead off and tell us what you got with the next gen stats?
Yes, I will. And it kind of coincides. We're going to have a running back focus. It coincides with what you just said. But
Right.
These are defenders in the box. These are the 8-man fronts. These are the running backs that face the most 8-man fronts in the league so far this year. All right. Some of them you'll be surprised because they still do well. Usually when you think 8-man front, you're talking about maybe stuffed at the line, maybe 1 or 2 yard game.
Yeah.
But some of these guys are breaking loose. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Let me see. I'll just do the top 10 and I'll go from 10 down to 1. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 guy, 8 men in the box at 25.6%. A lot of these are percentage points, but 25.6%. Bijan Mustard Robinson.
Yeah, he faces a lot of people in the box.
Yes, yeah. Well, that is probably a byproduct of the fact that they don't throw the ball. So,
Right.
A lot of that's another thing that you have to consider. A lot of these 8-man boxes is because the quarterback play or the wide receiver play is not up to big standards.
Mm-hmm.
Next player, unfortunately, he's been hurt, but he still faces a lot, and it's probably indicative of quarterback play is Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
25.76% 8-man boxes. Next guy in the list is Khalil Herbert at 28% of the time he's facing 8-man boxes.
That's a lot.
Yes, yeah, it's a lot, and that's probably because they had to play. Justin Fields was hurt; they had to play their backup. Next guy on the list, surprisingly, because they do have a good quarterback and a good passing team, Gus Edwards. There goes your guy, Gus Edwards, right? But 30% of the time he's facing an 8-man box.
Yeah, and they still can't stop him.
No, they can't.
Amazing.
Because it's tough to stop someone within that 5 yards.
Yeah.
All right. Next guy on the list, 31%. A guy who hasn't performed well this year, and that could be a reason why. Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
And that's another interesting thing because by all accounts, Houston's got a good passing game.
Well, they opened it up now.
Yeah.
They just opened it up. Maybe they realized there's too many 8 men in the box. We're going to beat you deep.
Yeah, well, if Dameon Pierce is back, like you said he is, he's practicing. We'll see if there's any change in his gameplay. All right. The next guy on the list, Kenneth Gainwell, 36% of the time. I guess they figured with Kenneth Gainwell in the game, you can stack the box instead of Swift. But, but he's up there surprisingly at number 5. Another Atlanta Falcon comes in at number 3.
Algier.
Tyler Algier.
You know why?
36.8%
Because
of
he
the
gets the
time.
ball tough
In the goal line.
in the goal line.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of these things are skewed because, you're giving your goal line back the carries. You're getting an 8-man box.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just common sense. All right, the next 2 guys, not surprisingly, but you might be taken by surprise. 40% of the time, Christian McCaffrey faces 8 men in the box, but yet he is undaunted.
Oh, yeah.
You can't stop him.
Can't stop him.
You see the moves he makes within those 8 guys in the box. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And the number 1 guy facing 8 men in the box is Derek King Henry.
That's why he's having a rough year.
42.4% of the time he's got 8 men against him in the box. Their passing game doesn't help them. They're not opening up. So it's either if he breaks one, he breaks one. But 8 men is tough to run against.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. 8 men in the box. So if you guys you have any of those individuals on your team and you start thinking about 8 men in the box and you have other running backs that don't face 8 men in the box during your fantasy run or your playoffs, think twice about it.
Something to consider. When you're setting those lineups.
All right. Let's move on to the average targeted air yards. All right. For this year, I'm talking about wide receivers receiving for this year. Average target air yards, meaning this is how far they average of 18 yards, 20 yards down. The average
ball goes in the air.
No, not the ball goes in the air. The quarterback throws to the wide receiver, and they're averaging the yards per se. So if I name number one is Justin Watson out of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's averaging 18 yards depth-wise to get the ball, 18 yards per game. This is where Patrick Mahomes is targeting him. Okay. He comes in at number one. Number two is Christian Watson. All right. Number three.
Two Watsons leading the list, huh?
Yeah. Number three, Rashid Shaheed. There's no think about that. Rashid Shaheed's always getting the ball deep from David Carr. He's their go route, his fly route guy. Yeah. Okay, with Michael Thomas not being there. All right, I believe he's going to be. Talk about that in a second. One of those sneaky links I'm thinking about maybe starting this with a streamer. All right. Real quick, number 4, Hopkins. All right. Evans. Number 5, Ayuk gets the ball deep. All right. Ayuk is averaging 14 yards. All right. This is as per Next Gen Stats. Amari Cooper with Watson's going to hurt him now with 14 yards. Here's a big one. Rashad Bateman's coming back. He's coming back this week. Rashad Bateman is another streamer, if you could think about it. I think they have too many mouths to feed, but without Andrews being in the middle of the field, he might focus on him a little bit. I doubt it, but it's just something to think about. All right, DK Metcalf with 14 yards down the field. Tank Dell, your guy, 14 yards. Alec Pierce, Chris Olave, 13 yards. Chris Olave, we talked about him. All right, those are the top, possibly top 7 or 8. And then the next one coming in is obviously A.J. Brown and Calvin Ridley. Okay.
I'm surprised at Calvin Ridley.
He's there. He gets the ball deep. All right. This is average completed air yards. Average completed by a quarterback. Average completed. How far they throw the ball completion wise. So coming in number 1 as per Next Gen Stats for the year of 2023 regular season. Coming in number 1 is your boy C.J. Stroud. He's completing. Average completed air yards is 7 yards. 7 yards. He's completing the ball.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball downfield.
Every 7 yards. So basically the average is 7 yards.
It's a short second in to go or third to go, yes.
Number 2 coming in, Brock Purdy. Then Matt Stafford. And then you have, I'm going to skip Jimmy Garoppolo. He was sat down. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, Prescott, Fields, Tannehill, Cousins when he was in, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, and believe it or not, Desmond Ridder. All right, with 6 yards per average.
Wow, I'm just shocked by some of those names. Yeah. There's no Justin Herbert on there.
Justin Herbert.
There's no
Mahomes.
There's no Mahomes on there.
Nope.
Correct.
All right, average. So here is that's not what I'm looking for. This is the quarterback with the longest completed air distance.
This guy's got arms.
As per Next Gen Stats.
Cannons.
No, it's not about cannons. How far they throw it deep. All right, these are the quarterbacks that throw it deep, try to reach their receiver later down the field.
Yeah.
All right, number 1.
Cannons.
Number 1. I don't want to call this guy a cannon. Ryan Tannehill is coming in number 1 at 62 yards.
Come on, you can't even count that.
All right, Russell Wilson's number 2. He throws the ball deep a lot to Courtland Sutton as well as Jerry Jeudy. And number 3, we just talked about that, I believe, in a live segment. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's throwing the ball down the field a lot. Mike Evans. Okay, he throws it a lot to Mike Evans. Sometimes he heaves it a little too much, gets picked off, but he's not afraid to air it out. Okay, then Joe Burrow when he was in. Derek Carr, another one to Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. Okay, I guess that's their offensive scheme. Then you have Jared Goff, throws the ball deep.
Yeah.
57 yards. All right, longest completed air distance, 57 yards. All right. Will Levis, that one game.
Well, that coincides with Hopkins being on the list.
Right. And then you have Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell, believe it or not, with the Raiders. He throws the ball deep a lot as well.
Yes.
He does. Sometimes he heaves it up. All right, intercepted or...
well, that's rookie growing pains.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts with 54 yards, Desmond Ridder, and Tua.
See, that's funny. I don't see, and this could speak maybe to a hidden injury that no one's really talking about. Josh Allen's not on that list.
No, he is, but he's not.
He's not
top
that.
10.
Exactly. No. It's surprising.
All right. We're gonna go to the best running back playoff schedules further. All right. I believe we went last week, but we're gonna reiterate this really fast. Derrick Henry, week 15, 16, 17 against Houston, Seattle, and against Houston again. Houston, Seattle, and Houston, Derrick Henry. So if your waiver wire or your trade, I apologize, if your trade deadline hasn't passed yet, maybe you could target Derrick Henry. I was thinking about doing it, but just no quarterback.
Commish.
I'm listening.
Houston, maybe you got to take a look. We're going to have to take a look at a little bit of recent stats. They have improved defensively. So right now, I understand that they're taking this as a whole. I just think that as the playoffs come closer, take a deeper dive in that defense and see if it's really as soft as they say they are.
Well, you know what? We'll see.
This is like I told you last week about Cleveland's defense, right? Cleveland's defense looks intimidating. They don't give up a lot of yards, but Jalen Warren, they're susceptible to the gash runs.
Yeah.
And Jalen Warren proved it last week.
Speaking about last week, you hit on every single point that you came through, Co.
Yes.
Everything the co-commissioner explained to you guys occurred in last week's game. So I'll give you your accolades.
Yes,
all right.
You don't have a prize for that, but yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It feels good to know that you can get lucky. Sometimes.
You called Jalen Warren. You called Reed, and there was another one you called. I can't remember.
I don't know if I picked Metcalf.
You did. You picked Metcalf. You picked the wide receiver because you talked about the ADOT. Okay. Yeah. Could you explain to the fantasy football world what the ADOT means? The average depth of targets, correct?
Yes, that's how far the wide receiver goes down the field before the ball gets thrown to him. Obviously, a shorter ADOT means it's closer to the line of scrimmage, like Zay Flowers.
Right.
And the deeper one are bigger plays.
Yep. All right, let's get to it. Austin Eckler, the other one, DeAndre Swift. Those are the three top best running back for the playoff schedule. The worst running back playoffs schedules for running backs will be Saquon Barkley. He plays Week 15 New Orleans, Week 16 Philadelphia, and Week 17 the Rams. All right, then you have Damian Pierce and Singletary at Tennessee Week 15, at Cleveland 16, at Tennessee Week 17. That's a tough one right there. All right, for those running backs. Best wide receivers for playoff schedules: DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Okay, play at Philly 15, at Tennessee, and at the New York Giants 3-week secondaries for wide receivers. So DK Metcalf might be someone you could target if your trade deadline hasn't passed. All right, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, Denver Broncos, Week 15 at Detroit, Week 16 at New England, and Week 17 at the Chargers. All right, worst wide receiver playoff schedules. The worst. Here we go. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. All right. Week 15 at the Jets, Week 16 at Dallas, and Week 17 at Baltimore. That's tough.
It's tough, but you're not starting. You're not
sitting them, but it's still tough. Okay.
I know a lot of people have different opinions on strength of schedules, weak or not. First of all, you play your studs no matter what. So it's kind of ridiculous to think you're going to sit Tyreek for anyone else.
Right.
But some people think that, hey, listen, those are just cumulative averages. And they really don't place, it's just something to guide you, but not something to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to listen to this. So, like I said, some people feel like, there's a lot of to be placed in rest of the season stats, and some people don't feel that way.
Okay. Best tight end playoff schedules. You got TJ Hawkinson, Week 15 against Cincinnati, Week 16 against Detroit, and Week 17 against Green Bay. Then David Njoku playing David Njoku. It says here Week 15 against Chicago, Week 16 at Houston, and Week 17 against the New York Jets.
Exactly. Look at this. You got to take a look at the circumstances behind these things. So Deshaun Watson doesn't get hurt. He still has one of the best schedules the rest of the season for a tight end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does that change now with Watson being hurt?
It does change.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But then again,
you got to take a look at the totality of the circumstances before you just say, I can't look at just the rest of the season's strength of schedule alone. You have to take a look at everything else.
Well, this is just for
I know. I'm just telling our viewers out there, just don't take this as gospel and just let this be the only defining factor that you have to start or sit someone. That's all. We bring information to you so you don't have to do it yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That's what we do. All right, best defensive streaming for the playoff run. The Rams, they're playing Washington, and then New Orleans, and Week 17 if you make the championship game against the Giants. The Cowboys playing at Buffalo Week 15, Miami Week 16, and believe it or not, my page got.
Where are the Colts in there?
I can't believe the Colts are in there. I believe the Colts have a weak schedule as well. All right.
Yes, they have a weak schedule only because recently they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when Joe Burrow was still active and not hurt, they didn't have so much of a weak schedule.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's go. This is the last segment I have, my friend. I know we've been talking about a lot of stuff, giving our viewers a lot of information. Hopefully they're sitting down, they're not getting too bored from us talking too much. But you know what? We have a lot of information. We enjoy giving all the information to you guys. This is the last segment. Please bear with us. Real quick, we're gonna go to my sneaky starts. All right, Cole. What do you think? I got Garner Minshew starting. I have him starting this week, believe it or not. Minshew comes in the week 12 with 3 games in a row, scoring at least 18 fantasy points or less. All right, and he plays the Tampa Bay. 4 of the past 6 quarterbacks against Tampa Bay have scored at least 26 fantasy points, including our start of the week, Brock Purdy, in week 11. Now, Minshew is no Brock Purdy. However, he's worth trusting as a low-end starter in all quarterback leagues in week number 12. All right. That's who I have for one of my sneaky links for my quarterback position. Now, we talked about this, Rashid Shaheed. With Michael Thomas' knee likely out a few weeks, Shaheed and rookie A.T. Perry, all right, he's 2% rostered, all right, should benefit in a big way. We saw in week 10, Thomas was hurt, Shaheed came about, and we all talked about the air yards with David Carr, which he's not going to play. However, Jameson Winston throws the ball deep. I think Shaheed is primed for about good, maybe 4 or 5 catches, maybe 86 yards, and a possible touchdown this week if you need a wide receiver. All right, that's who I have. My other start, sneaky leg, McBride facing the Rams defense. Rams D gives up the second most points to tight ends. Okay, and I have Ty Chandler versus the Chicago Bears. All right, that's who I have. Those are my sneaky guys to start this week.
Well, like I said, you had to carry the mail this week, so I don't have too much.
It's okay. Who do you have?
But I have 2. I have Shakir from Buffalo.
Okay.
Against a susceptible deep ball team in the Eagles. Look.
Yeah, I know.
You know, he on his fingertips.
Yeah.
On his fingertips. It would have saved Mahomes' week that as well as the Chiefs' week. All right. So yeah, I think Shakir's gonna have a good game. And I think Brandon Cooks against Washington's susceptible deep play defense. I know you don't want to hear that, CD, but Cooks has always been the guy to blow the top off the roof. He's the more of the fly route guy, and I think they're going to take advantage of that.
Okay.
Those are my 2.
All right, you have your 2. Now we haven't really talked about sits. These are my sit-ems for the week. All right, I have my sit-ems. I have Joe Mixon. I know you're saying you can't sit Joe Mixon, but I'm gonna explain why. Without Burrow due to his injury with Joe, them turning to Jake Browning to lead them against the vaulted Steelers defense. With all, the Steelers employed 33% blitz rate. All right, and they've gotten home 28 times this season, meaning that Mixon's gonna have a hard time running this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I agree, he's gonna have a hard time, but
they're gonna be, in my opinion,
sit him.
That's one of my sits of the week. Number 2. Jerry Jeudy against the Browns. All right, that's my second sit. Third sit, any wide receiver against the Raiders. The only one who will prosper is Kelsey. Raiders are giving up 9 points per game to the wide receivers. Believe it or not, they are tough against the pass.
Yes, I know.
Even though Tyreek blew up,
resurgent.
But they have been coming. They've been coming through. And the last one I have for sits.
Well, they kind of held Tyreek in check in the second half.
In the second half because he was hurt, but they did hold him off. They were double team. I know they were double team him. I get it. And number 3, I got Khalil Herbert against Minnesota. Minnesota is tough against the run. Those are my sits of the week.
Yes, I believe you should sit Joe Burrow this week. Sit any quarterback.
You have anyone to sit?
Yeah, I got a sneaky link, quarterback wise. A lot of injuries. All right, and I know we made fun about it earlier in the week, but or earlier in the broadcast. But Tommy DeVito, I think he's gonna have a good game against New England.
Can you stop with the nicknames, please?
He's gonna have 2 touchdowns.
Stop.
Watch.
Okay.
All right.
That's your sneaky link.
That's my sneaky link.
All right, chalk that one up.
Sneaky link.
All right. Cole, that's all I have for week number 12. Start'em and Sit'ems.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you for coming out to Commissioner's Cove. I appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Good luck on this week with your games. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Good luck with your victories. However, you can't win if you're playing myself or the co-commissioner. You guys have a good night.
Yes,
God bless.
good night.
Take care of yourselves. Bye.
At the coupe at the lot, told him 12 SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box, had to put the stick in the box. Pour up the whole field, I'ma get lazy. I got the mojo deals, we been trapping like the 80s.